Well, at one point in time, it looks like someone surfaced this with a grinder.
Those weren't from the grinder. Those were from someone else driving the car.
Yeah, someone named Ryan Trex.
Yeah, no. Look at that. That is, you can feel, like literally, you can feel depth differences in this surface. We are going to start removing the transmission so we can get the clutch out of the Viper. I don't know what clutch is in it. I believe it's an aftermarket clutch. I've had this cover off before, and the flywheel definitely looks aftermarket. Looks like some sort of maybe lightweight flywheel, aluminum. So I would definitely assume that it's not the original clutch. So we're going to get the transmission out, and we got something cool to show you that's going back in it. Whatever seal is supposed to be in there is completely gone, so all the dirt from under the car was going down inside the transmission. So unfortunately we had to change out our new fluid, but look at that crap. It's a good thing I got a new bushing, but I'm feeling really bad for all the internals of this transmission. This didn't fall out, so I got it.
Yep.
Oh, that's from teaching the teenagers how to drive stick right there. Oh yeah. So we got that in frame. Oh yeah. All right. This is we've been teaching people how to drive stick with this car. Let's get some angle on these hot spots here. Look at that. That is what you call some serious, oh my goodness, hot spots. So you can see some of the hot spots here. Amazingly though, this pressure plate still has like the machining marks. Get some light on there, get it to, there you go, you can kind of see it. Hot spots, but really doesn't look that old. I mean, I can even still feel, the machining marks in this. Yeah, you can see that heat in there. Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of depth to the rivets, but obviously we got hot. That coloring, purple and blue. Yeah, I've never seen hot spots like that before on a flywheel.
Well, at one point in time, it looks like someone surfaced this with a grinder. You can see the etching on it.
All of those marks, those weren't from the grinder. Those were from someone else driving the car.
Yeah, someone named Ryan Trex. He to impress an 18-year-old, he put it in fifth gear from a complete dead start, and he spun the clutch against here so much that it caused heat patches.
Well, no, but that was uphill too. Just saying, but. Okay. Yeah, no, look at that. That is, you can feel, like literally you can feel depth differences in this surface. Brand new Baron, yeehaw! Okay, so we're getting ready to install our new flywheel. Obviously, we're going to have this all cleaned before we put it on. And so what you're going to need to do is a little different than some traditional clutches, is if you bolt this on right now, you won't be able to install it properly. So what we actually need to do is we need to lift it up, and we're going to put our bolts through here, and it'll actually come pre-assembled in the box this way, but you got to take it apart a little bit to get it on. But you need to put these bolts through before you bolt this to the engine, because otherwise you won't be able to get them on. I'm going to slide all these in. They got this nice machined groove that's obviously going to keep those from twisting so that you can install the clutch properly without having to get a wrench back behind this, which obviously wouldn't be possible. So we'll get all our bolts in here. Get all our bolts in like that. All right, and then we get our bolts sticking through. Obviously they're loose, but we'll be able to put the rest of this together once the flywheel is bolted on. We have our new pilot bearing in, so we're going to bolt this on. We got our bolts. We got our specified thread locker on the bolts, waiting for us to get this on the car. All right, so we have our flywheel up on there. We got our bolts with our thread locker. And we have looked up our torque spec is 55 foot-pounds on these. So as you can see, these studs come through. I guess you could rotate and get them in one by one, but this makes it a lot easier. Get it on here. Put our bolts in. We're going to get these torqued down, and then we're going to start installing our clutch and getting our measurements. All right, so we've got our flywheel installed, our bolts torqued. We're going to want to make sure that everything is really clean. Obviously, you don't want any oil or any kind of contamination in your clutch on any of the friction surfaces. So it says we're going to clean this first because that is super important. So we don't want to skip that step. It was pretty clean, just handling it and everything else. You get a little bit of, I use the white rag, just like that. And then I'm going to start grabbing our drive blocks like it says. You want to make sure the bolt is pulled out and it's sitting flat on there. There we go. There's our drive blocks, and we're going to move on to the next phase. All right, so we're going to do our first clutch disc. And it is marked flywheel side, which you can see right there. So you want to make sure your hands are really clean. You don't want to contaminate anything. So obviously the flywheel side is going to go towards the flywheel. So we have our alignment tool where you want to make sure your drive blocks and everything are staying in place properly. Okay, so we got that on there. And now we're gonna do our first intermediate plate. And the same thing here, I'm gonna wipe this down. This one actually looks really clean. Actually, it's got a tiny bit of surface rust on it, just from being so clean. So it'll be all right. So, and then these are marked. All right, so this part's pretty important because it goes into the balance and all this stuff and how this is marked. So we're gonna look here at our intermediate plate. I'm trying to get the light on it. So there's a mark right here. We can see our mark up there on our flywheel. This needs to be oriented correctly. So our floater plate is going to go in here this way. There we go. Boom, there's our first floater. Like I said, it's perfectly cleaned. And we're going to move on to our next friction. And it's marked. See flywheel side. That says pressure plate side. So and then this next plate, this one's a little bit different because this is a triple. So I'm cleaning it up right now. Just holding everything in place to make sure it's perfect. Wiping it down to make sure it's perfectly clean. So again, it's marked pressure plate side, which is pretty obvious because it's very different. You have your friction side here because this is your last one. Again, you're going to find that mark. So we have our mark. You can see it right there. Trying to get the camera. There you go. You can see it right there. So we know our mark is up over this way. That side. Get this one in there. Okay. Ow. There we go. All right. Now comes our pressure plate, which I am cleaning this thing up. Again, don't want any kind of contaminants on anything. Okay, and then we're going to put our pressure plate on. And again, it is mounted. You have to excuse, I have boogered it up a hair. Here's our pressure plate. Our awesome GCC right here. So we're going to get it. We need to line up. You can see our big black mark on there. We are going to, ta-da, boom. There we go. See, this one slid back. Perfect. Just like that. We're going to get our washer and nut set up, started. So you want to be careful not to push, because that'll slide back in there until it's caught. So that one's caught right there. So now I don't have to worry about this thing falling off and hitting me in the head and getting damaged. Get that started. It's going to be a little trickier on the ones on the top. There we go. That one started well. I could probably get behind it here. Yeah. So get that bolt pulled. There it is. Boom. So what I'm using here, this is a little flat, real thin pry bar. And I'm not prying. All I did is, like you see, this bolt is slid down a little too much to get the nut on there. So I just reached right behind it and I can grab the threads and I just pushed the bolt out. Because obviously you don't have a lot to work with. It's not like you have a mile of extra bolt here. This still, has to be torqued down. So, all right. So now it's really important to make sure that all the drive blocks are still lined up properly, which I could see is really easy to screw up. up, make sure they're all seated and they're not rotated improperly. I'm gonna check that right now. Seat them all down by hand. Those are all seated properly. It says 1/2 of turn, 1/2 of a turn at a time, to 250 foot-pounds. No, that is not what it says. 25 foot-pounds. So let me see the size we need here. 1/2 a turn, and I'm literally just doing that by hand right now, like not even with a ratchet. This is literally my hand just turning these. Turn, turn, turn. See, and that's lifting the drive block. So I'm going to be really intentional about making sure that we are not lifting. They're about seated now. Last little bit of movement out of each one of these, and then I'm going to torque them. You can kind of hear it too. There's no more like hollow sound to it. It sounds like a solid piece. And look at that. Slides right in and out real easy. We're going to get out our torque wrench, and we are going to make sure that we torque these properly. It says torque to 25 foot-pounds. Right here, actually what I'm going to do too is I'm going to make sure we know when we've properly torqued it. I'm going to get myself a little chalk pen. There we go. That is fully torqued. We can remove our clutch alignment tool. Those are all lined up. We want to make sure that these are sitting flush. They are. There aren't any that are high or seem out of place. We have torqued the nuts. The drive blocks are all in the correct place. Everything is clean. We didn't leave any residue on anything. Now what we need to do is we need to take some measurements for our slave cylinder throwout bearing to make sure it's within spec. So the next really important part about your clutch install is going to be your measurements from your throwout bearing to your clutch right here. So your throwout bearing is going to push here on these fingers, and we need to know the distance and actually how much it's going to compress the throwout bearing. So there's a couple different measurements that you need to take. First, what I'm going to do here is I have this metal ruler that I like to use, and basically to get all your measurements, I'm going to measure the thickness of my ruler, which is 0.95, and then I'm going to put this across the clutch here, and I'm going to measure down to the high point of the finger of the clutch. And I'm gonna take that measurement. Right here we have 0.33. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure from here, see if I can make this so you can see it a little bit better. I'm gonna measure across from the clutch here, and I'm gonna measure to the block. Measurements, make sure I got that correct. Okay, we need to measure the throwout bearing to the transmission. Nonetheless, you want to go across your pressure plate, measure down from there to your fingers, and then measure across your pressure plate, measure across your pressure plate to the back of the block. You measure in a couple places. It's a little tight in the Viper to get up in a couple of these spots. Then you're going to subtract your measurement from the pressure plate to the fingers, and then we'll go over to the transmission. So on the Viper, you actually have to take the bell housing off to get the transmission out. So obviously we have it here on our welding table. And what we've done is we have put our throwout bearing in, reinstalled our bell housing, and now we're going to measure. Same thing, I got a nice straight edge. I'm going to measure my straight edge so I can subtract that out of my measurements here. So this one's 0.99. I'm going to put this across our bell housing, and I'm going to measure back. There's other ways you can measure this, but this is how I do it. Measure back to the face of the throwout bearing, get my measurement, and now we can compare this to our measurements we took on the clutch to the block and the clutch fingers, clutch to the block and the clutch fingers. And what we're looking for is, per the instructions, we need 0.5 to 0.625 of an inch compression on this. So this is where it sits like this. With this installed, you want those fingers sitting against here, and for it to push this in 1/2 inch or 0.5 to 0.625. So when I take our measurements here, I actually have that there is no compression. Actually 1/1000th negative, meaning there would be a gap of 1/1000th with the way my slave cylinder is currently bolted to the transmission. And so they have sent me this lovely spacer. We can see right here, if I take my calipers and I measure right here, we have 1/2 inch, 0.502. That should put us right in line with the specs that they require for compressing the throwout bearing. They also sent a few other shims. I could add 100,000 shim if we wanted to get it to 0.6, and we would just stack the shim right in there, put this on, bolt the slave cylinder to this to space it out to give us that compression we need. That's it. We're going to put this on and we'll be ready to throw our transmission back in the car, bleed the clutch, and go out and enjoy 500 miles of driving around to break it in before shredding some tires or ripping on the dyno. All right, so we have our new triple plate clutch in. I have not started the vehicle. We just got everything back together. I got the center console back in, the shifter, new shifter in. It's very stiff, so we'll have to figure that out. It's actually a longer throw shifter than our other one, but that's kind of nice because you can clearly tell where you were. The other one was so short and you just couldn't even figure out what gear you were in. All that to say, we're going to try and start the car now, and then we're going to try and put it in gear and see how it feels. The clutch pedal feels great. There's no slack. On top of replacing the clutch, obviously it came with the new slave. That's pretty standard. I also replaced the master cylinder. I don't know how old this one was, and honestly the little retainer that holds the rod in was broken, so the pedal would just like flop all the way up. So I wanted to fix that while we were doing this. So it's not a Mopar, but it's the same exact part number as the one we took out, so that shouldn't change anything at all. It's just new parts. But I can tell the pedal is slightly firmer than the clutch we took out, which was not a stock clutch, granted. It doesn't feel too heavy. It feels firmer. It feels like a better consistency of pressure, if I can explain that right. When I put my foot on it, the pedal doesn't even move, and then I push, and it's like the same pressure all the way down, whereas before it was kind of like light, got a little harder, got light. This is a lot more consistent of a throw, it feels like. So we're going to start it and see if it works. Should work. We're going to start it and see how it works. There we go. All right. Everything's dinging at us. We're running. Clutch in. It's in gear. Oh, it works. There we go. Engagement is very smooth.